I don't even say what's up. I just tell him what I want. Cause I got another nigga that's gon' do it if he don't. Attitude bad, but he too good. When he say fuck me, I tell him fuck me good. Chase these niggas, I wish I would. Bad bitch like me, hoes wish they could. She's half of me, I need gas to see. And I'm all with a daddy, she a bastard to me. He ain't fucking him right, bitch, pass him to me. Real niggas love me from the H to the D. Don't stop, pop that cat, just like that, shake that shit.
That's for the day. See, you gotta go. Roll a space. Hey, she gets cold. What's Bronché? Let me see. Pick in her brain. I'll bring more ain't the same. Now she's like, baby, that ice my chain. I try to come give me top like crap.
What's up, everybody? Welcome. Thank you for joining. All right, bitch.
Ever since I got my cake, I'm running these bitches like me.
What's good?
What's good, y'all? How y'all feeling?
Let's rock to this song for a little bit.
All right. I want y'all to write in the comments what y'all drinking. And if y'all not drinking, I want y'all to write what y'all smoking. And if y'all not smoking, then I want to know what y'all doing, because we here to turn up.
Exactly. Have fun. Hey.
We just waiting for y'all to put in.
Hey. Hey.
People sound way too full of myself. You're right, and I ain't even made it to dessert. But we no angels, no spangle.
This is my new jam. Tequila with salsa lemon. I definitely got lemon salsa going up in here too. Emily.
Oh, Emily's doing smoking motor breath.
Yeah.
I've never heard that one.
Yes.
Hey. Venecia's making dinner. What you making for dinner, Venecia? Hey. Hey. Titty pop.
You know when you gotta like. This bitch is like, you meant the seizure titty.
I was trying to do double time.
I thought we were doing the titty bounce. You did the. Okay, smoking on that good cherry gelato. I see you too, the man. Yes. Welcome.
Cherry gelato.
Welcome to 3 years of Ladies Who Bronché.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday,
Happy
bitch.
birthday. We've been
Happy
doing
birthday.
this.
We really, honestly, it has been such an honor to have 3 years of podcasting. Not only because it's something we said we was going to do and we fucking did it and accomplished it. Mm-hmm. And that in itself is worth celebrating. But because it really has become, I think, a source and a platform that people do turn to.
Yes.
To not only just check in on Julissa and Skittlez, but really, Bronché is a whole vibe. It's a lifestyle. It's not just who the hosts are. It's about being a bad bitch, owning your space, and disrupting any table that you sit at. So that's really the point of Bronché. And I feel like we've done that. We've definitely been disrupting some tables in the past 3 years. Mm-hmm. And we're definitely disrupting and shaking shit up now. So Skittlez, tell the people what you've been up to.
What's good, everybody? So, oh my goodness. So since season 4 aired in June?
Beginning of COVID.
March. Ooh. But it went through to June. So since then, just surviving, trying to stay healthy. I've been working on my fitness, trying to get this body a little right.
And you have been successful.
Thank you.
Okay.
I'm trying.
The glow up is definitely happening. The daddies are noticing on the street. It's happening.
We trying to run. We're trying to diet out here. Well, eat healthily, not diet. Yes. Like I think the whole goal has been to just be active and make smarter choices.
Right.
So I've been doing that. I'm voicing the character of Debbie on Sci-Fi.
Yes, check that out. If y'all have not checked out about wildlife on Sci-Fi, it's actually really hilarious.
Yes.
Especially episode number 2 is my favorite. So yeah.
Yeah, so it premiered 2 weeks ago, so there's 2 episodes out. You can catch that on Sci-Fi's IGTV. You can catch it on YouTube. You can catch it on Sci-Fi's website and stuff like that. So you know, I'm voicing that character and just trying to. I've just been trying to create content and really just build on the work that has already been being put in, you know?
Yeah, 100%.
What about you, bitch? What you been up to?
Well, similarly, I'll start with the intersection of the running. So, like, as y'all saw the other day, our sister, Derek.
Shout out to the New York Dose.
Who also had a birthday. So, happy belated birthday to the New York Dose.
Yes.
So, we went running with Derek, which sort of, like, added a new layer to what I started discovering over quarantine, is that sometimes a bitch just gotta walk.
Yeah.
And so I was taking these long walks. Shout out to my family, my brother, and my sister-in-law, my brother-in-law. We would all go on these morning walks, and it really started to develop habits, because that's really where I suffer, is developing the habit. It's not that it's impossible to do the workout, it's about doing it consistently. So I too have lost some weight.
Yes, bitch, come on.
I too have lost some weight.
We about to get those necklines. You see
Right. I'm trying to get rid of the neck chichos a little bit, so that when I take the pictures, trying to look over my shoulder, you don't have all the neck rolls on the side.
Yes, I'm trying to get. You know how like when you go to take a selfie, you do that.
Right. To get the angle.
I'm just trying to bring my angle a little lower.
Right.
You know.
Right. Right. So you don't gotta hide so much. You don't gotta disimular so much.
But
though turtleneck season is coming, so that makes it dangerous because I feel like turtlenecks are like a faja for my neck, so I get to like pretend. I get to do all the looks without actually losing any of the weight. No, but yeah, really I've been up to that. I've been working on a super stealth project that I can't talk about, but it is with the co-founder of WeWork, Miguel, who I used to work with, which is a big deal in itself. So I'm really excited to be working on that project. But really, a bitch is unemployed, technically. I am an unemployed girl at the moment. Currently looking for sugar daddy applications. Quarantine did not yield any love interest for me. So I think I'm going into this hibernation season, still uncuffed, preparing to buy an extra heavy quito, a space heater to keep me warm in the night since I will be by myself. So,
when you say hibernating season, do you mean
I mean Thanksgiving on, because I feel like Thanksgiving
Yeah.
is the first meal that I use to get my hibernation. I actually listened to a whole podcast on bears today by accident.
Okay.
And I learned about how, like, yeah, bears eat as much as they can because they use all of hibernation time since they're not eating and they're sleeping to slowly burn all the calories that they binged. And I was like, wow, how wonderful if my body could supercharge all my calories on my body every time I went to sleep.
I wish that was the
But anyway, but that being the case, I feel like, you know, hibernation season really starts in Thanksgiving where I'm like stuffing my face, and then after that it's just a downward spiral of like eating a bunch of sugar cookies and Christmas stuff, and then because you know Dominicans, Puerto Ricans, it's like 3 pernil meals closer together than what we're used to, because it's the pernil in Thanksgiving, the pernil for Christmas, the pernil
for Three Kings Day if you do that.
And I was gonna say New Year's.
Oh yeah, right? And New Year's.
So it's like there's a lot of pernil and pastelitos and stuff that's coming down the line, and I just feel like had I had a man, that physical fitness can make up for the fact that a bitch is not about to run in the winter. That is just the reality.
I see, but what scares me about the idea of hibernation season is that 2020 kind of puts hibernation season into a new context, right? Like, are we gonna experience a spike? Are we gonna have to go back into quarantine and like do the whole shit over again? I see people in Walmart and in fucking all these stores buying all the Lysol again.
Yeah.
When I still haven't been able to find Lysol. I still haven't been able to find the fucking wipes, the Clorox wipes.
Yeah.
So I think that's like hibernation season. Let's just pray that we don't experience.
I think, you know, I think a spike is inevitable just by scientifically, but I do think that New York has figured out a method where when we see the numbers, we saw what worked the first time, so we'll put extra emphasis on the stuff that we know worked. So
Yes.
I have trust in that. Pero outside of having a very cold winter with myself, and the real mozo, is easy to say that cuffing season is canceled because of COVID. When you a whole ass married person.
When you a whole ass married person.
Married people can't comment on the single stuff because y'all don't know the struggle of being out here and dry and in the desert.
Exactly.
But yeah, I think all that considered, we're here. The big thing that's coming up for us is season 5.
Yes.
This season is going to be particularly exciting because this is the season where we are going to get a little thematic, which is not a thing that we usually do. We have our free-form dialogue in the podcast, but this season we're being super intentional about making sure that every guest that we bring on in our lineup, we're going to speak about an intersection of Black lives, right?
Yes.
So that's not to say that the guests themselves has to be Black, but it doesn't matter who you are. If you're at our table, the only thing we really give a fuck about at the top priority are Black lives, which also includes Black trans lives, Black LGBTQ plus lives, just the whole full spectrum, Afro-Latinx lives, all of the intersections where, a lot of people are making a lot of noise and everybody's putting all these cool, curated pictures, but I want to create more space to just have the conversation, right? We know the details, we know the book and documentary recommendations, but what are people who are living this day-to-day actually going through, and not just the influencers and the people who we see on these fancy lives and what they get to say, because at the end of the day, the people on the streets, the people fighting the fight are the people on the actual street, and so we want to speak to any and everyone, and if you ain't ready to talk about Black lives, then you ain't ready for season 5. You ain't ready for it. You know what I mean? That said, it's still going to be very us. We're still going to be drinking mimosas, and we're still going to be chopping it up, so I'm just really excited to use our space to continue that conversation.
Yes. So I just wanted to take a second to shout out everybody who's engaging us in our comments below. We have the Homo Homie podcast.
Yes, follow them.
We have the New York Dose in the building. What's good? The Real Mozo. We have Lambie.
Yes.
We have Michael Zonga, Daddy.
Yes.
We have Venecia in the building. We have Isabel. Connie was good with that rebrand.
Yes, so all these wonderful pictures y'all have been seeing have been shot by Connie. So if y'all haven't already been to her page and followed her work, you are missing out. She is a dope photographer. Also the podcast that he just shouted out. Guys, please put your handles down. We want to make sure everybody knows who you are because you're definitely some of our favorite podcasts.
Yes.
Gerard is also on here.
Gerard, sister.
And Gerard and Venecia, who are both in the chat, are the other part of our Bronché team. They're the reason why me and Skittlez keep our heads straight and why emails get sent and things keep moving. So we definitely want to shout them out and thank them for all of their hard work because they're the reason why we function. So thank you to my team.
Shout out to Carolina, who's out here. Shout out to Freddie.
Yes.
In the building. Carmelia. There's a solid 21 of us in here. That's cute.
That's enough for us to drink.
So, listen, cheers to that.
Cheers to that.
And while we're drinking, I want all of you guys to press that little arrow on the bottom, and you're going to send it to 10 friends. Send it to 10 friends right now.
If you didn't know, Skittlez is the social media manager for Bronché. So Skittlez is always the one who's always giving the directions and whatnot. But we want to have an open conversation. Usually we come with topic, but there's so much we could talk about. We don't want to talk about shit that y'all don't want to talk about. You are here, you are celebrating with us. And so we would like if people would drop things in the comments that any question. And literally anything. It could be about us. It could be about the world. It could be how I like to eat potatoes. I honestly, anything's up for grabs.
And if you wanted to, there's a little question box on the bottom that you could drop a question into. Obviously, we're kind of far away from the phone, so if you drop it in the comments, we're going to be able to see it on the side over here. But go ahead, ask us some questions.
Also, if you guys want to join us on the live, and there will be a moment for that, if you are compelled, if there's anything you want to say to us live and in person, or if you want to talk your shit about what you want to talk about live and in person, go ahead and shoot us a request, and we'll let you in.
Yes.
Yes. So, I think, yes, remembering to vote. So we'll talk about, while y'all think about y'all questions, I'm going to real quick talk about the importance of voting. There's a map that I had put up that tells you when your state's registration deadline is. For a lot of folks, that deadline was already yesterday. I know it's a messy election. I know we got two old crusty white motherfuckers reaching for the same seat, and we are very bored and over crusty old white men. But the reality is that we know that there's one crusty old white motherfucker who
needs to get out.
Who just needs to go. She's doing too much.
Yeah.
She was showing her tracks during the debate. That's already a big no-no. Like, she's not doing it for me. And I just think it's important that in supporting the bigger work we want to do, that is more than just the vote, because the work is not just the vote, and I will call that out. But the vote is going to help all of us who are not yet on board with fully understanding abolition and like all these more radical ways of changing America. So like, help us help you, and go ahead and get that vote in. And we have a question.
We have a couple of questions.
Yes, what are we sipping on? So Juju is on a detox. So I'm literally sipping on lemon seltzer.
And I'm sipping on orange juice because I stopped drinking in August. Just part of the
restoration.
The restoration and stuff.
Healing.
Not that I don't drink. Like, in celebration for the cartoon, I was drinking. In celebration for New York Dose's birthday, I was drinking. But you know, you just gotta take some time to give the liver a break every once in a while. And yeah.
And yes, Connie, you can ask anything.
Anything. The real Mozo. How do y'all feel y'all have grown?
From season 1 to now.
Oh my God, I will comment on just like in terms of aesthetically, if you go to season 1 and you look at us now, baby, we are a brand. Like, we have grown. Okay, we have a logo now, we have a theme song, you know.
We have transitions
and shit. We have fancy pictures and shit. Like, before, it was just us, mics, and a camera. And we would record the podcast, and we would take pictures and just put it out there. And while that worked, at least aesthetically, you know, you want to see progress, you want to see growth. And so I think we've definitely kind of finessed our aesthetic.
Yeah. And I think that Skittlez plays a huge, and I think the reason why you answer that really is because Skittlez, and again, in managing the social media, there's a lot of that Skittlez is wholly responsible for, because I fucking actually hate social media. When I go online and I'm in my bed with, well, my titties aren't out there under the covers, but when my titties is under the covers, I'm wearing the bata. It's not me trying to be like comedic or intentional. It's that I got to say whatever the fuck I got to say, and that's what I happen to be wearing, and it's quarantine. So that's what the fuck I wear in my house, and if you got a problem, oh well, right? And so I don't think about careful curation when it comes to that, but I care about the content the episode. So like for me, I think where we've evolved is, I think the way that we can wrap up a conversation, really bring things out of a guest, even Skittlez, like, you know, the dynamic between Skittlez and I, and getting Skittlez more involved when it's politics and me.
Because Lord knows there have been episodes where I'm like,
right. So, and we didn't always used to record, right? So I think that like the content began to matter to me more, because like I started to see what people see in real time, like in the guest, and I was like, no, everybody should see this conversation happening. Even the body language of it means something. So I think we've grown because we've taken it more seriously. And honestly, if not that you asked this, but if I were to give any podcasters or aspiring podcasters a piece of advice, it would actually be that you have to give yourself the freedom to play in your authenticity first before you start to like market and contain yourself, because the reality is that all that stuff is strategic. The secret sauce is your authenticity. So if you don't have that figured out, you can have all the logistics, but that doesn't mean your podcast is gonna be popping, because what soul is in the food? It's like eating unseasoned, you know, food. So
exactly, I completely agree.
Next question.
What can we look forward to in season 5?
So, I mean, like I said, we are talking about the intersections of Black lives. I think part of what you can expect is, while we will have that playful tone, I think we're gonna really go there in conversations, and we're gonna put our guests in a position where we really want them to go there with us. Now, one big dynamic that's going to be different, unfortunately, or at least for me, I think is unfortunate, is that we're going to be doing it via Zoom, right?
Mm-hmm.
I like being in the room. If any of you guys have been on the podcast, you already know it's a turn up, a pre-turn up, the recording, and then there's a post turn up. And I feel like that's really where the value of the conversation cements for me. And so I'm going to be missing that piece. So that's going to be different. But I also think that having the Zoom dynamic is actually, and we're going to maybe try this, but we're going to potentially try having like multiple voices of the same category exist on a podcast. So for example, if we knew multiple people of color in fashion and we want to talk about that intersection, then like, yes, we can have an individual dialogue, but there's something that happens when you group people together that are going through something that really gets people going. So I think that might be something new that you'll see that we'll try. And you know, last season we were playing tragos for most of the time, but maybe this season we're gonna bring something that's not tragos and something new. So stay tuned.
Yeah, stay tuned for that. And if you want like something that, if you have a brand or a product that you want us to show off, reach out, DM us. We're always down to try new things.
Absolutely.
Play out. What's good? What have you learned from each other?
Wow.
Ooh.
Damn, play out. I wasn't ready for
Play
that.
out coming for the 1-2. I think that's a really big and good question because obviously we have the podcast, but then again we have what you guys are really witnessing is a 15-year-long friendship.
Yeah.
And so I think for me, number one, Julissa has always been kind of like my therapist at times. You know, she like helps guide my thinking, you know, when I need to vent and stuff like that. And that's like an important person to have in your life. I think literally learning how to grow with Julissa, who is my best friend, who is someone that I want to keep in my life, and just learning how to mature with each other and grow with each other so that we can nourish the relationship that we both cherish so much is the growth in and of itself for me. You know what I mean? Because it does take a lot of work to really, not a lot of, I don't want to say a lot of work because I don't want that to sound negative, but like, you know, like
work
growing
doesn't
with
have to
each
be
other.
negative. Growing
You know?
is work and work is not negative.
Yeah. But yeah, I would say literally just that, because then when you bring in Ladies Who Bronché, we're building a brand, you know? So you have your friendship and then you have your business relationship. Really just learning from each other in that growth aspect, I think, is one of the biggest things for me.
I think that and like continue to growth and more specific around growth, because Skittlez and I work very differently. Skittlez has challenged the way I can be rigid. So there are moments in which I just like, I don't know, I've always had a certain expectation of excellence around anything. Anything that has my name on it needs to either scream ambition of excellence or be pure excellence. It's a really like good/bad habit that I have. And so I become very much of a perfectionist, and I think being a perfectionist sometimes actually gives you guardrails, and it makes you afraid to take certain risks with the brand or putting up certain posts or doing, like I said, I don't fucking really love the internet that much. So like mukbang challenges or like some of the fun stuff we do is like, I'd do it if we were just chilling, but once the cameras turn on, I'm like, I don't want to do this. And Skittlez is like, no, bitch, get camera ready, let's go. You know what I mean? And so Skittlez like forces me to do it, but it's a good force because actually it's me then having to challenge, how do I be authentic in these spaces, but engage the spaces, because that's part of the business. And really Bronché is a family business. Like 15 years of friendship, that this is my family. You know what I mean? This is no longer my friend. And we do have so many other people who also, I think we learn from each other, but I think the circles around us also teach us so much about process and how we do things. So we've learned a lot from each other, but really we've learned a lot from y'all. Like the way in which you engage or don't engage the content, the feedback that you guys give, you know what I mean? Even the, hey, when's the next episode coming out? Even the pressure of knowing that people desire more really teaches us a lot about how we slack and how we don't slack. So it's been a really beautiful journey, and we're just so happy that you guys have been with us. Hey, shout out Amira. Check out her album Witness. Okay, it is on all platforms. Go to Bandcamp, buy that John. It is a incredible album. And if you haven't even heard her first one, then do a double cop witness.
Yes.
Okay.
And then while you're at it, go buy Freedom We Sing,
Yes.
$100.
Matter of fact, well, we doing this for the family today.
Hey! Boom, boom, boom.
If you
boom,
have
boom,
children,
boom, boom.
if you have children, hi Aria, that's my niece. This book is incredible. I'm gonna just give y'all a peek because y'all gotta buy the John. Buy it.
Shout out to George Harris who's in the building. Anthony Alfaro. Edward BK.
Okay, primo. Live and in action from DR.
Yes. So Connie said, what did Connie say?
What was the most difficult episode and why?
Ooh.
I know my answer, but if you don't have one, because I remember which one was the most difficult for me.
Well, you go first, because I
Vaughn's, but also
I remember. I think for me was the episode where we talked about Camila, the trans woman, Camila.
Oh, with Kat, was that Kat's episode?
With Kat
Kat
episode.
Lazo. Wow.
Just because that was like emotionally like.
So for context, that was a week. There was a week where in Puerto Rico there had been a few trans lives that were taken, just very flippantly.
Yeah.
Like right before COVID, there was just this like recurrence of trans women turning up dead in Puerto Rico. We talked about it in an episode with Kat Lazo. Just so you're framing, just so you guys know who Camila is that we're referring to.
Yes, that was in season 4. I think that was like a really heavy episode just because of everything that was going on and talking about it and yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you see it, but we were crying.
I cried in that. I cried in that one, and I think it's interesting that trans, because I think that there's two for me. There was one episode that actually was difficult because what happened that was difficult happened off air, and it was a conversation that it was difficult to put out the episode knowing that the context of the conversation that happened afterwards around Trans Live with one of our straight cis male guests was really interesting because it was one of those moments of we framed this person, we had a dialogue, and it showed all the pretty and nice sides, right? But then the camera turns off, the mic is off, and now we're having this difficult conversation around trans lives, and it was hard for me to put that forth without also putting forth the reality of the challenge of that conversation, not to embarrass the person or to shame them, but to display just how like somebody who can still be this extraordinary person who you just heard on the episode could also be a problematic person who still needs learning.
I remember when you said that. Yes, I remember that conversation.
And that for me was kind of like a big like, holy shit, if you're really going to be creating these platforms, and we need to be a bit more intentional about how to go there and really have these conversations and not become a safe space for unsafe ideas. So that was a big one. And then the second one in the similar vein was there was an episode that I did with somebody who I grew up with, and we were talking about immigration. Yeah. And they're from Mexico, and like we were like really like anti-wall and talking really crazy, and they were like, man, y'all put in too much. They're not going to do nothing. Nothing's going to happen. Y'all are over worrying. And I started to be like, is this like, am I bugging? Or is he just incredibly naive? And it was one of those live inactions. I couldn't decide. Like, he was like, oh, well, I know people in Mexico. I know people who help people cross the border. I'm telling you because I know. And I'm like, so are you saying that like the liberal side is gaslighting?
Yeah.
How bad the issue is?
It
like,
almost, it felt like we were downplaying things like the wall and stuff like that throughout.
And kids in cages. We were literally talking about kids in cages, and I was just like, there's no, and it just felt strange in the moment. But it was challenging, you know, because it's someone that I love and certainly wanted to respect their ideas, but also like there's nothing calm and cool about kids in cages. So how has quarantine challenged you mentally, physically, and emotionally? Pros and cons.
I think that at the beginning of COVID, what helped keep me sane was that I had really gotten into a heavy like rotation of meditating and praying. And so meditating and praying, and then also like focusing energies on creating content for the internet that would bring smiles to people's faces and be funny. And so I think that's really how I was able to kind of maintain my sanity through the beginning of COVID. But there was definitely a point throughout the summer, I think like at the end of July, August, like where it really kind of hit me.
Yeah.
Like I was no longer okay with just kind of like, you know, trying to hustle and keep it going. And I had to kind of just be like, pause and work on, you know, my own self. And then, you know, shit like continues to improve and you continue to work on yourself. And I think that it's an everyday journey, really.
Yeah.
Because it's still new. Like, we keep on, I was just saying this to Julissa, we keep on rushing to be normal,
Yes.
but the shit is still going on. And so, you know, you try to maintain your sanity, but it's an everyday.
Yeah, it's an everyday struggle. And I feel like for me, I've already left the place where I'm trying to transition and rush to be normal, and I realize that the pressure I'm feeling is that, holy shit, what an opportunity to make sure shit is never normal again. Because normal meant institutional racism, white supremacist systems that are part of the reason why, like, even something as small as, like, being a podcast with a certain level of visibility and algorithms and, you know, who from big companies would say, oh, we want to pull a podcast like Ladies Who Bronché, or even, like, the Homo Homie podcast, or even, like, the Real Mozo podcast. Like, you know, like, all of these platforms that we're fighting to create, actually, I think that through the WeWork lens and being in these bougie rooms with literally millionaires, you know, like, I just realized how shit is easy for them because they just say so. Because that's just how the world has always worked for them. And I'm like, oh, so is now the opportunity for the world that I've lived in forever to take a seat and have to listen to me now and take our lead now and create room for us now. And I really am focused on this idea of dollars and how we actually use our dollars. Like, I think Amazon is a great example. It is like the hardest thing to give up potentially, but like if all of us could cancel our Prime subscriptions, like, whoa, what symbol would that mean, right?
Yeah.
Or if we were to say, like, conditionally, if we're going to spend the dollar, this is what you have to do, and then they actually did it. And I think we just underestimate our power as a unit, both buying power and just, I'll throw in again, voting, your voting power, like, all that stuff actually matters, but it's about intention. And I get that usually it don't happen because everybody's scared that, because I know me, I'm like, I'm not the one who's going to give up all this shit and then be the only one on IG and then have people be like, yeah, and still go on Prime and order their shit on the low. Like, nah. Are we with the shits or are we not with the shits? And so I think the anxiety that I've been feeling during quarantine has both been a pro and a con, because that's a heavy weight to carry, but also I think I need to keep insisting I do not want to go back to the way that things were, because of the world that we were transitioning out of means it's a world where me being a CEO or me leading something is 10 times as hard, and why I want to live in the world where it's not 10 times as hard, because the power has been balanced to a degree. So I think there's that. In addition to all the meditation, I did a really hard thing that I had to do to address some trauma. I made some police reports around some things. A lot of you guys know what I'm talking about. And that to me was the biggest thing I did that during COVID that has really like changed me, because I think I took the spirit of the times and saying, like, there's someone who's running around in the world who's hurt me and gets to do that because they live in that structure. But if that structure is being broken down, then I'm breaking down that motherfucker right with it. Boop. And did what I had to do and in the process of continuing that space. And you guys will learn more about that eventually. But that, I just wanted to shout that out because I know there's other people who have had big decisions they've made or have lost family members. I want to take the time to acknowledge the fact that it has been a pandemic, and both in feeling for my family and friends and praying for my family and friends, like, it's just the knowledge that over 200K people have died in this country, and that we need to create space and reverence for that, just the same way we have a whole day dedicated to 9/11, and you know damn well they won't let you forget about that. So I just feel like that's been quarantine for me.
Yo.
I'm gonna check another question.
And while we're checking questions, shout out to Rue, who's in the building.
Yes, Sofrito.
Sofrito Speaks. Go check out Sofrito Speaks, the podcast.
All right, and I have a question for us. Okay, Elmo. I'm sorry, Elmo's here. I just saw the name. I gotta shout out Elmo.
Elmo.
Check out Elmo's podcast as well. We got a lot of podcast family up in here.
Family. Shout out.
Shout out to y'all. So our next question comes from Vega, who is also one of our honorary Bronché team members.
Yeah.
So she asked, do we have a dream guest to go on the podcast? If so, what do we want to discuss with them? Dream guest.
I mean, if I could pick You know, deadass. I feel like I have a list.
I have a list too.
Can we do like top 3?
Yeah, let's do 3.
Okay.
Why not? It's our birthday.
And all of mine are women.
Yes.
All right, top 3. I would love to interview, or not interview, I guess have Bronché with and Kiki with Jennifer Lopez.
Ooh, yeah.
I've always been super interested in just like how you go from being a girl from Castle Hill and then being like this mogul. So Jennifer Lopez, along with that phenomenal Bronx woman AOC.
Yes.
Because
who low key we gotta
been engaging us.
Cause she low key engages our stuff. If y'all don't know, so
tag AOC in the comments right now. Tag AOC in the comments
when
right
y'all
now.
see me talking about AOC, that's a birthday request. Like, cause
Yes.
AOC, I've DM'd with her before and like cried of joy because I love AOC so much. But like, actually engagement. If y'all see me talking about her, help us with them little tags. You know, that's definitely a dream.
And then my third one would be Rosario Dawson, because she's also been someone who's engaged me before, but I've never met her. So I would love to just.
And Rosario's only 1 degree of separation from us, low key.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe we can make that one a reality. Same with AOC. And low key, we probably know somebody who know J-Lo and we just don't know they know.
Honestly.
Right. I think for me, well, if we're talking about Bronx women.
Shout out to everyone who's tagging AOC in the comments right now.
Oh. Y'all are on it. That's why I fuck with y'all. No, but I think honestly, like, not to sound super fucking cliche, but the reality is, I would really like to sit down and speak to Cardi and do her a proper interview that isn't, because she's always interviewing on platforms that have very specific agendas and are tied to things. I would really like to have a real ass conversation with Cardi B. You know what I mean? And just be able to hear her trajectory, because I feel like when I created Bronché and I was talking about giving voices at the table to people who have shit to say, but nobody thinks that they have the credentials to listen, I would think about a Cardi B. That's the type of woman that I think also deserves a voice. And like, sure, one might say she's not always politically correct, and sometimes we have to go back and unpack some of the shit she says, but that's what the fuck the conversation is for. I'd rather have her here, talk her shit, and unpack it with her on some real shit, you know, than to just like, she's Cardi. Like, I feel like people don't really go there with her. So I would love the opportunity to have Cardi on.
I also think that, just to add on to that, I think it's because the people who are interviewing her don't know how to go there with
They
her.
don't.
Like, she needs to kiki with us because we are from the same neighborhood, same backgrounds. Like, we get it.
Absolutely. I think another one for me, gosh, I have such a long list. I think another person who I would probably want to interview on here, for the same reasons of pulling them out of context and seeing how real I could get them, the Obamas. I wonder what the Obamas would be like on a podcast when we talk about ass eating. Like that kind of interview. They've written books, they got movies, they got all this shit. Obama, you eat the box or not? Like, I'm trying to see, can we get, if I got Barack Obama to answer whether or not he eats his wife's pussy or not, I think I would retire.
I'm blessed.
I would retire. Did someone say my niece is on here? Hi. Every time I'm talking about really dirty shit, my nieces pop up on the live. My apologies.
Yes, a legit interview with Obama, Rue. That's exactly what we're talking about.
A legit interview. And then I think my third person who I'd love to interview, ooh, we have so many good people in this world. You know, this is going to be a real left field one. You know who I would interview? Al Sharpton. You know why? Because I feel like there's something about Al we gotta air out. Like, we gotta really talk to Al these days. I feel like Al Sharpton, like, I need to know where he's standing these days, and I feel like I would really, 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 really love to sit down with Al Sharpton and be like, all right, brother, let's have a real conversation, because we know it's mixy with you. It's real mixy with you, and I don't, you know, I think the world should know. So those are mine.
You want me? Oh.
I got it. All right. Thank you guys for these questions. Y'all got some good one. Oh, someone just, Lord Swift, no question, just want to show you some love. Thank you. Venecia, I did get the Cinnabon. Thank you for that. Next, I like this question. So, from my big brother, ever considered doing live brunches?
Yes. Yes.
I think we have. No.
I feel like we've talked about it, like, at almost every season. I think a large, and obviously those of you who have been to our live events know that we get it poppin', and we do what we can to really like create an experience. But
I'm sorry, I just
What?
read that Freddie wrote that Al Sharpton's hair has secrets. I'm sorry, I just had to, anyway. But yes, so we absolutely have.
we definitely have plans to do brunch events. It's just a matter of one, growing our audience enough to that they engage us enough so that we can go to these places and say we can guarantee you this amount of people to show up, because
And I would even say a step, like even before we do that, I think that there's a way that live, like this is a live engagement. There's ways to do live engagement. We just like in person so much because it's just better. Like who does, like brunch is literally a moment of gathering. And so for us doing that type of stuff live, 100% something that we're working towards. So great question. Let's look at another one. All right. Okay. What would make us want to kick someone under the table at Bronché? Ha.
kick under the table.
Like-
I think anything like negatively, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I
Not
think
footsies
anything...
under the table. Not footsies under the table. Actual kicks.
I mean, anything homophobic, transphobic, like anything that's like, yeah. I mean, I don't even know that the kick would be under the table in that case. Like,
Yeah. I was gonna say for me, I'll call myself out. Sometimes I'm a chismosa. Sometimes there's moments where somebody's saying some shit that me and Skittlez have cheesed me out about before, and I'm doing the whole you listening, you heard that part, you see what I said. So really, my table kicking is more of like the signals of chisme and what women do when they're doing bochinche. I'm very much a vocal person, so if there's something wrong, I'd be like, oh, that's interesting. Or, oh, so you're just going to drink all the mimosas? Like, I'm very upfront about my stuff. All right, more questions. All right. Okay, how can you support us financially? Listen, my Venmo, my Cash App, and all that stuff is at Julissa, the same thing as my handle. So if y'all ever feel like y'all want to bless me with a donation, especially because if y'all follow me, y'all see I've been losing money lately, like just left and right. Like, I'm always happy to take a donations. A bitch is not rich. A bitch still, you know what I mean, is trying to get her finances up. And in fact, a bitch is about to be living on her own fully and lost a roommate. So I now literally need to think about how to come up with my other half of my rent. So if y'all ever want to support us, definitely you can cash up us and Venmo us directly. But we're also working on our website, and that website will have a portal where you guys can support us in more ways and actually get something back for what you're giving. So stay tuned for that, because our website is about to be fucking fire. I love it. Okay, another question. Outside of COVID issues, what's a dream recording destination? I have an answer while you think.
Yeah, you go.
Mine is going to be corny, but I've always low-key wanted to broadcast from a parade or event. So like either New Year's Eve. I think New Year's Eve with Bronché would be my dream. Like that we actually like are the ones who are interviewing and all that stuff. I would fucking flip my shit if I was like the host, if we were like hosting New Year's Eve or even the fucking Thanksgiving Day parade. Actually, no, I don't want to do the Thanksgiving Day parade. That's the colonizers' holiday. But you know, something like that.
I would want to do like an island, like Hawaii or just like a destination.
Or like Dominican Republic.
I mean, not one of ours.
Why you want to do an episode in DR?
I mean like, because I've been there.
Why you
Fuck out of here, because I've been there and I've been there. I've been to Puerto Rico, so I'm not saying that I want to record in Puerto Rico.
I didn't say not Puerto Rico, but you just saying not DR. I would
I want to do an island that I'm in the
Whatever, see?
So what's the problem?
Whatever. On to the next. See, y'all gonna have us out here fighting. All right, what is this one? Salami guisado o frito. So salami sauteed
frito
or fried. Frito, pero dime, mijo, un salami guisado pa' qué? Los salami guisados se comen con guineíto, pero si tú te estás comiendo un plátano, hay que freírlo porque dime. DR doesn't suck, Johnny Mole. I'm sorry if you had a bad experience, but definitely not a shitty island.
Yeah, John, aren't you Dominican?
Yeah,
Like...
Dominicans, we got a whole legion of us that be trying to play us at the same time. DR is great, y'all. Y'all just be going to the wrong beaches or maybe with the wrong crowd. All right, what do you say to your tia you love who is voting for Trump?
Oh, whew.
I say, bueno, si tú quieres, porque si él te deporta, yo no quiero oír nada. I always let him know that motherfucker will deport you too, so when the day comes, I don't want to hear it. That's what I let them know, because all my family is immigrants. We all immigrants.
I honestly, like, the one tío that I have that is of this mentality, I try to, like, he's also the one tío that, like, speaks over you every time you try to talk to him. So, like, I don't even think I don't know. I think it'd be just, like, a lot of teeth sucking and rolling eyes and dirty looks. Because it's almost, like, not even getting through to that person.
Yeah, I think, to answer that, I'll give a more real answer to that question. Because somebody actually DM'd me the other day saying, can you give me advice on how to talk to my racist family? And I was like, you think I have advice for you? Great. I mean, listen, I engage in political debate with my family pretty often because I grew up, watching them do it. So I think that there's a respectful way to have those conversations. And I think the same way you have to accept that you can't change the mind of a Twitter troll, for example, there's a way in which you can't just force people to believe something they're not ready to believe or accept a truth that they don't want to accept. All you can do is feed facts. So always feed the facts. And if they don't want to accept the facts, it's kind of like how Christians say, well, if you don't want to accept the word of Jesus, then, you'll face your wrath. And like, I feel like it's the same. It's like, I'll give you all the information and talk you through it, but like, you'll just have to we'll just see. Like, at the end of the day, politics is just a game of, we'll just have to see what the fuck happens. So you just got to stick your ground. But I think it's important that it's less about what you tell them and expect of them and more about how you create safe spaces or don't create safe spaces for certain ideas. Because I think at this point in my family, I don't think anybody would say something crazy homophobic because they know I have you and they know I like to open my mouth. And so because they know that, whether that doesn't mean they agree, that doesn't mean that they're not homophobic. And by the way, these are all examples. All of my family fucking love Skittles, by the way. But you know what I mean? But if they didn't, then that's just something that they would know is what it is. And that's where I stand. And either they're going to respect me as a person or they're not going to respect me as a person. So just chop it up back to respect at all times. All right.
How many more questions? Because I know that if we
get cut off, we about to get cut off.
Yeah.
All right. So, what are upcoming projects we can keep an eye out for? Well, you're editing one of ours.
Yes. So we have a music video coming out for our theme song. I know. So at least aside from sci-fi. The cartoon Mira Bitch 3 will be happening in the coming weeks. So that'll be happening with Cesa la Princesa.
Yes, Cesa.
And season 5. Those are the comedy videos that you see on my Instagram and Ladies Who Bronché and the cartoon.
Yeah, I think for me, so some of you might have seen I just won a commission, the Greater Good Commission for the Latinx Playwright Circle. I think next week actually they're streaming the recorded plays. We wrote a series of short plays. I was one of the inaugural winners of that commission, which was super, super exciting. So that is going to be premiering. I'm also working right now with Intar Theater on a different artistic project where we will be staging demonstrations throughout New York City days before the election that are going to be speaking against politics. So I got to write these really fun pop-up, almost like flash mob sort of thing. That's going to really be encouraging people to vote and talking about the issues that are happening in real time. And that's going to be super dope. And I'll definitely be sharing that information with you guys. And like I said, I have a super self project that I really wish I could tell you guys more about because it's fucking dope. And all I'll say is put good vibes towards it. And if you're a hater, stay 10 feet away from me because it's a wonderful opportunity. And God knows I'm not letting nobody fuck that shit up for me. But we're on the come up. Let's just put it that way. We are on the motherfucking come up. So that's what you can expect.
And I'm about to be on more TV. Fuck out of here.
Fuck
I don't
outta
know
here.
exactly what yet.
You just gonna be manifesting.
In production. Anybody who might know from Pose, if you're watching this, I'm funny. But yeah.
Also, shout out to Vampires versus the Bronx. If y'all haven't watched that, that shit was so wonderful. It was like, wonderful is the word. It's a wonderful. Oh, okay. What are you reading right now? Are you reading anything, Skittles? Because I just got a book. I'm reading 2 books right now. Are you reading anything? Blogs. We've reading captions. I read
captions.
So this is I posted this, and it's sexual therapeutic exercises for enjoyment, health, and rejuvenation. And this is actually super important. It's not. I'm not even like trying to be funny. Like yes, like my sex game, but it's actually quite it's very intentional, and it talks about pressure points and things like that. And I think again, like I said, after suffering a sexual trauma, it's important to reconnect with your body, and it's important to reclaim your body. And I think it's an opportunity to meet my body in a new way, right? With new intentions and new curiosity. And so I'm reading this book because I think absolutely there is a restoration in sex, and I think it happens when you're intentional about it. Yeah, and I'm ready to have some real ass sex, because why die and only have whack ass sex that's very egotistical and blah blah blah, when I can be having this fucking bedroom secret sex. So I'm trying to find a bedroom secret type partner. Fuck out of here. If you ain't read bedroom secrets, you can't enter. All right, that's the new rule. Read the bedroom secrets, because if you don't know which little point in my thumb is gonna make my little clit go, then I don't want it. So that's what I'm reading.
You want me to?
I got it. All right. How many drinks before you spill the hot tea at brunch? Sorry, Chad. Chad is embarrassed at what I just said. How many drinks before you spill hot tea? Basically, how drunk do we have to be to start really spilling the hot tea?
I don't think I have to be that drunk, especially if it's like my close friends. I don't think I have to be that drunk.
Nah, but I feel like because I'm always real, but sometimes I'm not raw, if that makes sense. I'm not being, I'm not lying or hiding shit, but I'm not taking it to its level. And I feel like 6 has always been my limit. Like by the 6th drink, I always know that my behavior is now slowly being turned over to the alcohol and away from myself. So drink number 6, if you don't want me to start spilling tea, don't piss me off at the table. Yeah. All right. Y'all, this has been really, really great. Y'all have had, I think that's all of our questions, love.
Lit. Let's have a dance break.
A dance break. Yes, New York dose. Required reading on Tinder. Hey, Claudia. We have another one. Thank you so much, Layla. So much appreciated. So we probably have 5 more minutes on here. What's up? Love from Cali, Lucha. If you guys don't know, join Lucha. Definitely look them up. We are part of the Lucha family, and Lucha's mission is really revolved around getting community together and thinking about how we can solve community issues together. Like Skittlez said, did you say in the beginning where we're gonna be going on Friday?
I didn't.
So on Friday, Skittlez and I and the New York Dose and a couple of others are going to be out in LA. So for our LA family, mira, it's COVID, so everything a la distancia, everything distance.
Wear your mask.
With your mask. But we will be in LA. We don't have a specified agenda, and would love, love, love to connect with some of our Cali family. So for the Cali family that's on here, we land on Friday. We leave on Tuesday night. We out to LA. Yes, New York Dose is coming with us. So, really, I want to just spend this last couple minutes thanking you guys and leaving room for any last minute questions that you guys may have. Oh, we have one that came in. Have y'all recently drunk and Gerard wants to know if we've had a moment where we drunk slept on the toilet. What Gerard is referring to is that I am notorious after my number 6 drink at the table. I'm notorious for getting home from brunch. Yeah, like that.
I get home from drunk.
I get home from brunch drunk, and there have been more than one occasions where I go to pee, and I don't ever stand up from the toilet because I fall asleep in the middle of just like peeing. I just fall asleep because I'm that wasted. So that's what Gerard is referring to. And no, sweetheart, we have not had a sleep on the toilet moment because we have not had that kind of brunch turn up. But I bet you when outside opens up even more, the likelihood of that is very, very high. Definitely.
Yeah.
All right. I love this. This thing is so interesting. Romo or gin? Wonderful question. I am a gin girl all the way. Rum or gin?
It depends on my mood.
I'm
and
always
the
a
drink.
gin girl.
Cause like I feel like if it's like happy hour after work, then gin. But like if I'm on an island and I'm drinking something like fruity and islandy, then rum. You know what I mean?
Listen, when I'm in DR, I'm drinking some motherfucking Brugada. But I'm like a gin girl. I got gin in Colorado that's like house made. I got gin from Japan. A girl loves her some gin. So I'm really a gin and juice, Snoopy Snoop kind of gal. All right. Gin is not nasty. All right. If you guys haven't checked out Skittlez' Wild video.
I don't know who you calling a whore though.
Let's go. I think it's time for you to cream.
I'm about to do the freestyle. I'm about to do a free performance. Ready?
Okay.
Pink and fruity, and he call me Skittles. Round all around when I walk, it jiggles. Steady, wanna chubby, wanna play me like a fiddle. Put it in deep, booty wave, it ripples. Dick on thick and the cookie on tight. Suck it real sloppy, then I let him take a bite. If you bring a friend, it'll be a cockfight. Wanna taste the rim, I'll let him lick on sight. Watch me whip it round, pop it up and flip it down. Got that ooey gooey chewy, boy, this cookie's well renowned. When he see me, I don't hide. I give him that slip and slide. We play doctor, I'm the patient. When he asks, I open wide.
Shout out to Derek, New York Jokes. Skittles, can you share with the people what a bussy is?
Oh my goodness, a bussy is your butt pussy. So
It's time for you to cream this pussy. Yeah, nigga, it's time for you to cream this pussy.
you know, I think bussy just really like describes when you've become a professional at taking dick.
Oh.
You know?
So there's levels to this,
Yeah, because my hole is tight, bitch. My hole is, you know? But you get to a point where if you just play with it a little bit, it creams up real nicely. And it still keeps the hold. But, you know, you take dick easier. You know what I mean?
Creams up. See, this is news to me. I didn't realize that your pussy creams.
Yeah, it's like a mix. Well, because your ass gets wet. But not, obviously not as wet as
Right, no.
pussy,
Oh,
but it
I'm
gets
not even
wet.
trying to compare wetness. I didn't even realize this. You want to ask what I've learned from Skittles? You're seeing this in real time.
So like a mixture between like if your ass is getting wet, right? The saliva from the that you just put on the dick,
or
lubrication. It
Spit
looks
anal
really.
doesn't hurt more than lube anal. I'd be afraid to have spit anal.
You know, it really depends. If your deep throat game is good, like that saliva all the way back
Well,
there.
I know what it does. Excuse me.
You know?
I'm not that.
But I'm saying that spit
is enough.
Yeah.
That is very good to know. I, as a person who does not,
If you got that wet,
right?
Shout out to all my gay boys and all my gay boys and who else? All my LGBT bitches that fuck in the ass, that have that wet, and I'm done screaming this.
I love a lot of people looking for their mute button. And all right, guys, we are down to our last minute. And with that lesson around bussies, and Derek, I saw your little comment. I know about prostate test. I did not realize that there was a natural lubrication of the asshole. A natural lubrication of the asshole is what I meant. But thank you so much. Thank you so much for being with us. We love you. Thank you for making these 3 years such a wonderful, wonderful 3 years. And I can't wait for y'all to tune into season 5. It's going to be great. Some of y'all check y'all emails because the invite to be on is sitting in your inboxes. So please, please, please get back to us. And until next time, folks, Bronché.